Okay, let's talk about that all-too-familiar mystery, that magnetic pull of the kitchen long after you've had dinner. Tonight, we're going to dive into the biology that's really calling the shots when those late-night cravings hit you.
I mean, have you ever wondered this? You're on your A game all day long, but then the sun goes down, and suddenly it's like you're in a battle with your own brain over a bag of chips. Well, guess what? It's not a lack of willpower. It's actually a biological puzzle, and tonight we are going to put all the pieces together.
So, first things first, let's be super clear on what we're talking about. A food craving is not the same thing as regular old hunger. Nope, this is a targeted, really intense desire for one specific food. It's the difference between thinking, I should probably eat something, and thinking, I absolutely need that pint of ice cream in the freezer right now. See the difference?
And hey, if this sounds like you are in very good company. The numbers are actually pretty staggering. 97% of women and 68% of men say they deal with food cravings. So this isn't some weird quirk. It's a fundamental part of how we're wired.
All right, let's get into the good stuff, the science. To really understand cravings, we have to meet the two main players in this story, your body's internal clock and the powerful hormones that it controls.
You see, pretty much everything your body does, from sleeping and waking to your metabolism, runs on this 24-hour internal schedule. It's called the circadian rhythm. Just think of it like the master conductor of an orchestra, making sure all your biological systems are playing in sync with the daily cycle of light and dark.
And one of the most important instruments in that whole orchestra? A hormone called cortisol. Now, it gets a bad rap as the stress hormone, but a much better name for it is the energy and action manager. Its main job is to manage your energy and keep you alert all day, following the very precise schedule set by that master clock.
Okay, now take a look at this. This is the ideal, healthy rhythm we're aiming for. See how cortisol spikes in the morning? That's the hormonal shot of espresso that gets you out of bed feeling alert and ready to go. Then, it's supposed to gradually taper off all day, hitting rock bottom at night so you can fall asleep and get that deep, restorative rest.
So, what happens when this perfectly tuned system gets thrown out of whack? Well, two of the biggest things that break the clock are chronic stress and, you guessed it, not getting enough sleep.
When you don't get enough sleep, you're not just tired. You are actively messing with that master clock, and that kicks off this huge domino effect, throwing your hormones completely out of sync and literally changing how your brain makes decisions.
And this right here, this is the critical plot twist. When you're well-rested, the rational, logical part of your brain, the frontal cortex, is in the driver's seat. It helps you make good choices. But when you're sleep-deprived, control gets hijacked by the amygdala, a much more primitive, emotional part of the brain that's only focused on one thing: immediate rewards.
And what does that emotional, tired brain want when it thinks it's in a crisis? Quick energy, right now. It's not asking for a salad. It is screaming for the most energy-dense, super rewarding foods it can find. Sweets, starches, salty snacks. It's basically a survival mechanism that's gone haywire in our modern world.
Now, all this hormonal disruption tends to create a few distinct patterns of imbalance. Let's walk through them. And as we do, see if you recognize yourself in any of these. First up is the tired but wired pattern. Take a look at the chart. Cortisol starts high and just stays there all day. This is classic chronic stress. It's that feeling of being completely exhausted, but when your head hits the pillow, your brain decides to run a marathon. Your body is basically stuck in go mode, which leads to anxiety, terrible sleep, and a constant craving for sugar just to keep pushing through.
Next, we've got the classic midday crash. We've all been there. Your morning cortisol is doing its job, but then bam, it just plummets in the afternoon. This is that 3 p.m. wall you hit. It's a sudden, dramatic drop in energy that has you reaching for coffee or a candy bar just to make it through the rest of the workday. Your body is screaming for a quick fix because its natural energy manager has just clocked out. Now this pattern, this is a major player in our late-night mystery. It's the evening rebound. Your cortisol is kind of sluggish and low all day, but then it suddenly spikes at night, the exact opposite of what's supposed to happen. This gives you that weird second wind right when you should be winding down, making it hard to fall asleep and sending powerful signals to your brain to go find a snack, usually a salty or crunchy one.
And finally, there's the running on empty pattern. You can see the curve here is just flat and low all day long. This is burnout. This is when your system is so depleted from long-term stress that it can barely pump out enough cortisol to get you through the day. We're not just talking tired here. This is a state of deep, constant exhaustion, where any kind of comfort food feels like a necessary crutch just to function.
Okay, so we've identified the problem and the patterns, but here is the really good news. You are not powerless here. So let's talk about the actual steps you can take to reset your clock and get your body back in sync.
And the solution is a pretty simple 4-step framework. It's all about timing your meals, balancing your plate, managing your stress, and of course, making sleep a priority. Don't think of these as a bunch of strict rules. Think of them more like the 4 legs of a table. They all work together to support and reset your body's natural rhythm. And while all 4 of those steps are crucial, let's zoom in on one you have direct control over multiple times a day: balancing your plate. This is so important. By making sure every meal has protein, fiber, and healthy fats, you can prevent those wild blood sugar spikes and crashes that fuel cravings. This is how you give your body stable, steady energy instead of putting it on a hormonal roller coaster.
And for those times when a craving still pops up, because let's be real, it happens, you can be strategic about it. Instead of just fighting it with willpower until you give in, have a plan. These swaps are designed to hit that satisfaction spot you're looking for, but they do it in a way that actually includes nutrients, like protein and fiber, that help keep your body in balance.
So if there is one thing, one single thing you take away from all this, please let it be this. Struggling with late-night cravings is not a moral failing. It's not a failure of willpower. It is a matter of biology. It's your body sending you a really clear signal that something is out of sync. And the moment you start listening to those signals, you get the power to fix the root cause. Which brings us to our final thought for today. Looking at everything we've covered, from sleep and stress to when you eat, what is one small change, just one little adjustment, that you can make to start working with your body's clock instead of fighting against it?